Hi, this is Morley and this is the Wire. In this video, we're going to look at how Attorney General Barr has said that the coronavirus lockdowns are the greatest intrusion on civil liberties since slavery. So it's not just someone like myself saying it, the Attorney General of the United States happens to agree with me. It's true, all our liberties have been trampled on to some extent at some time or another throughout this lockdown. That's no secret. I mean, this virus is serious, but it's not nearly as serious as they're making it out to be. I'm sorry. I haven't seen any evidence of that. I'm not saying that people aren't sick and that people haven't died from it. Don't get me wrong. But the measures that we are taking to prevent the spread of it and whatnot are just way overblown. I mean, way overblown. I mean, take a country like Sweden, for instance. They haven't taken any measures whatsoever, and their cases and deaths are slightly below average. So what's their secret? I mean, that sends a very strong message that with the masks and, the social distancing, it doesn't help as much as they'd like to think it does. It really doesn't. I'm sorry. I don't care what science has to say about it. I mean, they haven't done any lockdowns. They don't do any masks and whatnot. So how do you explain that? There has to be some logical explanation. I mean, the masks don't even help the spread or contraction of the virus. It's been proven. So wearing a mask is redundant. You may as well cut a 2-inch hole in the mouth of the mask and it's equally as good. If the virus is as contagious as they say it is, why isn't there a biohazard disposal bin on every street corner in America for the masks? Surely it can't be okay just to throw your mask in the garbage. We're going to reach a point where the lockdown measures are going to be worse than the virus itself. People are going to suffer more from the measures taken for the lockdown than the actual virus. I mean, we're getting very close to that point with everyone unemployed and whatnot. They should just open everything up, let people go to work, and feed their families. I mean, how long do they plan on keeping this going? So now we're bracing for the second wave. This is silly in my opinion. Open up society, open up America. A.G. Barr, coronavirus lockdown's greatest intrusion on civil liberties since slavery. Attorney General William Barr called lockdown measures to prevent the spread of coronavirus the greatest intrusion on civil liberties in American history. Comparing it to slavery, he also likened stay-at-home orders to be put under house arrest and warned that a medical pandemic doesn't give a blank check to executive rules that infringe on civil liberties. The Attorney General made these comments September 16th during a Constitution Day event hosted by the conservative Hillsdale College. He gave a speech focusing on the role of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and criticizing the selective application of the law by some district attorneys. Attorney Barr then answered questions from the audience after delivering his remarks. Attorney General Barr also disagreed with letting medical professionals decide on business openings and closures during the event. The person in the white coat is not the grand seer who can keep up with the right decision for society, he said, adding that a free people makes its decisions through its elected representatives. His statement elicited applause from audience members. Barr, a staunch opponent of liberty infringing lockdowns. The head of the Department of Justice has been a vocal critic of coronavirus lockdowns for some time now, as such measures infringe upon civil liberties. In April, he released a memorandum exhorting Justice Department prosecutors to watch out for state and local regulations that possibly violate the constitutional rights and civil liberties of individual citizens. The document added that despite the implementation of policies unthinkable in regular times, no crisis or pandemic will nullify protections enshrined by the U.S. Constitution. During a May question and answer session on Twitter, the Attorney General said that the state and local governments have the right to impose reasonable and temporary restrictions during times of emergency, but they must justify why these restrictions are truly necessary. Furthermore, he mentioned that the Justice Department will be on the lookout for restrictions that are too widespread, too generalized, or unduly discriminatory towards liberty, and will undertake appropriate action once a rule infringes civil liberties. Now that the curve has been flattened and the hospital system has not been overwhelmed, it is time to start rolling back some of these restrictions, Barr emphasized. Coronavirus lockdowns violate people's fundamental rights. Some federal judges are of the same opinion as Barr. Lockdown orders issued by state and local governments violate the fundamental rights of citizens guaranteed by the Constitution. A September 14th ruling by District Judge William Stickman IV found that coronavirus lockdown orders in Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, and Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine were unconstitutional. The order limiting mass gatherings violated the right of assembly and guaranteed in the First Amendment, while other orders, non-essential businesses to remain closed and people to stay home, violated clauses in the 14th Amendment, according to Stickman. He also added that restrictions put in place during periods of emergency may remain long after they have passed, and any liberties relinquished during such times may be hard to regain. Meanwhile, District Judge Gary Sharp said that the coronavirus restrictions implemented by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, New York Attorney General Lolita James, and New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio in July were unconstitutional. In his decision, Sharp ruled that the restrictions limiting outdoor religious gatherings violated the First and 14th Amendments and discriminated against religious individuals by limiting their opportunities to gather and worship. As a result of Sharp's ruling, the state of New York has permitted indoor religious services of up to 50% capacity, but with other public health protocols such as social distancing in place. The Constitution guarantees freedom for all U.S. citizens whether or not a pandemic is in place, and no state or local order in the name of public health will supersede it. Amen, Mr. Barr. I mean, this is just beyond ridiculous. Let's open up the country again, and let's keep America great. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll catch you in the next video.